Hello everyone, good morning. Can anyone confirm audible or not? Can you hear me? You can use your chart window. So any newcomers who is joining from today onwards? Any newcomers? Any newcomers who is joining from today onwards? You can raise your hand or you can use your chart window. Any newcomers who is joining from today onwards? 2 members, Praveen and Vikas. Who is joining from today onwards? You can raise your hand or you can use chart window. You can say yes. Okay. 3 members. 4th. Okay. Okay, the newcomers. Okay. We completed like 3 sessions. Okay, 4 sessions, I guess. Okay, we completed like 4 sessions. First 2 sessions, just it's a kind of interaction sessions. We discussed about what content we are going to deliver as part of this course. Next 2 sessions, just HTML basics we covered. So I will provide you the 4 days class videos to you. Okay, end of the class we can talk. We can talk newcomers. Okay, end of this class. Okay, we can talk. What we discussed last 4 classes, I will tell. Okay. Okay then. Okay, let's come back to our actual discussion. So all are installed Visual Studio Code software, right? If you're not installed, okay, just install it. Visual Studio Code software. Just go to Google. Okay, Visual Studio Code you can type, you can download the software and install it. Okay, now I want to open our workspace folder. So our workspace folder already, this one only. Okay, if it is not this one, just click on the file, open recent. Okay, here recently which workspaces folders you open, you can see here, just click on that. Just click on that. Okay, okay then. So for what things we covered? So for what things we covered? Why we go for HTML? The next programming language versus markup language. The next one we talk about developer console window. Okay, elements tab. Okay, partially we talk about the elements tab. Okay, we need to talk about console, source, network, and application tab. We'll see later. The next one is like, okay, what is inline elements? What is block level elements? Okay, the next one is like, now you know how to check whether this element is like inline element or block level element. Next, how we can find, okay, the content related code in elements tab. How to find the content related code in the elements tab. These things we covered or not. Okay, so our next level discussion is see. Let me create one HTML file first. Let me create one HTML file. Okay, how we can create HTML file? Now see, in the Visual Studio Code, there are 3 sections are there. First sections, icons you can see. Second section, your workspace folder you can see. Third section, you can see which file you want to open, that file related code you can see. Okay, source code you can see in the third section. Now let me create one file, HTML file. How we can create? See, if I hover my cursor in my second section area, you can see these 3 icons. If I come out, see those 3 icons are not visible. If you see here, 4 icons are able to see. Okay, the first icon, see that new file. The second icon, new folder. The third icon is like a refresh explorer. Okay. The fourth one is like collapse and expand. So the first icon, new file, just click on the new file. Okay, just write one HTML file. The name can be anything based on your requirement. Okay, the name can be anything. Okay, test. The extension is like, okay, HTML. The extension should be HTML. Extension should be HTML. Okay. We completed 4 sessions, right? These 4 session videos I will provide you. Look, don't worry. Newcomers will talk end of the session. Okay. Okay then. If I run this file, yes, you can run it, no problem at all. If you want to run this file, okay, just you can run. Here, there is no code, nothing is there. Will it throw an error? No. Why? Because HTML is a markup language. There is no compilation, nothing. Whatever the code you written, that is rendered inside the browser or not. If you not written anything, nothing is going to render. So can you run this? Can you run this file? How you can run? Go to this particular folder first. How we can go to that folder? Okay, don't go, okay, like this. Don't go like this. Okay, go to this folder. Don't go like that. Which file you want to see in the file explorer for? Right click on the file. You can see reveal in file explorer. There has an option is there. Click on that option. Now directly it is opened in your file explorer path or not. Now this is my file. Just run it. Right click on this one. Open or open with your wish. Okay, open by default. It is going to open in your default browser. Okay, let's open that. Now say this. This is my file. You not written anything, so that nothing is visible to you. Now tell me, you not place any tags. You not place any tags, but by default, my browser plays how many tags? By default, my browser plays how many tags? By default, my browser plays 3 tags. What are those? What are those? Let me open the developer console window. How we can open the developer console window? Right click and inspect it. Now it is docked in the left side. I want to dock in the bottom. Okay. Now say this. If you not write anything also, my browser by default plays how many tags? 3 tags. What are those? HTML, head and body or not. By default, my browser plays like 3 tags. HTML, head and body. Yes or no? Got my point? If you not write any tag also, okay, if you not write single tag also, by default, my browser placed 3 tags. Okay, now if I write some content like this content where it is going to place? If I write some content like this, okay, this content where it is going to place? My browser knows which content place inside the body, which content we need to place inside the head. Now, if you come here, say this, my content is going to place inside the body tag or not. Now see, whatever the source code you written, that is placed inside the body. Whatever my body has, that is only rendered as a content inside the browser or not. Whatever the source code you written, whatever the code you written, that is directly placed where? Inside the body. Who placed? I didn't. Browser knows. Okay, which tag where we can place, where we need to place. Whatever my body has, that particular source code only rendered inside the browser, and the content is visible to the end user or not. Yes or no? Your source code placed inside the body. Whatever the body has, that is only rendered inside the browser and visible to the end user or not. Yes or no? Okay. Okay then. Let me write. Okay, some elements. Okay, H1 is one element. Okay, you know some elements, right? Tell me. Div is like one element. Listen carefully. Span is like one element. The next one is like H3, like one element. Next B is like one element. The next one H6. H6 is like one element. The next one is like italic is like one element. The next one is like para is like one element. Para is like one element. See, total how many elements I placed in my HTML file? Total how many elements? 8 elements. These elements, whenever I run, all these elements placed inside which tag? Okay, my browser knows. Okay, which tag should place where? Okay, my browser placed all the tags where? Inside the body. So whatever the body has, that is only rendered inside the browser or not? Yes or no? Whatever my body has, that is only rendered inside the browser or not? If body is not there. See, if I delete the body, nothing is visible. So whatever my body has, that is only rendered inside the browser or not. Okay. Okay, then now come to our actual topic. Our actual topic is going to start from now. See, total 8 elements are there. Total 8 elements. 8 elements having the same content or not? Content is nothing but open tag is this one, less than, greater than, in between some text. This is tag name. Open tag is this one, closing tag is this one. In between, if you have something, some text, that is called as a content. So if you observe here, 8 elements having the same content or not? Yes or no? If you observe here, all the 8 elements having the same content or not? Come on. All the 8 elements having the same content or not? Such in only. All the 8 elements having the same content. But here in the browser, if you see, is that content is visible or rendered like a same format or different formats? The content is like same, such in only. But while rendering inside the browser, okay, those are rendered like in different formats or not? One is like big font size. Another one is like there has some gap is there. Here there is no gap. Here some gap is there. Okay, here something like this. Okay, here something like this. Yes or no? The content is like same. The content is like same. My content is like same. But while rendering inside the browser, okay, those are rendered like in different formats or not? Why these are rendering like different formats? Okay, what I can say? That means each and every element is render that particular content in their own way or not? One element to another element, behavior is like something different or not? Yes or no? One element to another element, the behavior is like something different or not? Come on. Agreed with me? So my question is very simple. Okay, see this Sachin, right? How we can find the code for this particular Sachin? Okay, for this Sachin, what is the code they written? How we can find it? Right click on the Sachin and inspect it. This is the code I written. Yes or no? So my question is, why my H1 is looks like this? Why my H1 behaving like this? Why my H1 content is looks like okay, big font size? Okay, why? What is the reason behind that? The next one. Come to this Sachin, second Sachin. Now if I right click on this one, inspect it, this is my div I written for this particular code. Why my div is not behaving like H1? Why my div is behaving like normal, okay, normal text? Okay, there is no effects, nothing. Why my div is behaving like this? The next one is like span. Why my span is behaving like this? The next one is like H3. Why my H3 is behaving like this? H6, I, bold, para. Why these elements are behaving like that? Okay, if I place some content, they are going to render the content in their own way or not? Different ways they are rendering or not? One element to another element, behavior is like something different or not? Why? What is the reason behind that? That is the question. Okay, now 8 elements are there. How many elements are like black level? How many elements are in like inline? Tell me. How many elements are like black level? How many elements are like inline? What is black level? What is inline? Yesterday we discussed. Which take the parent width element which takes the parent width, that is the block level, which takes the content width, that is the inline. Now tell me, see, this is my body. Body width is how much? 1333. So inside the body, these many children are there. To my H1, the children, okay, my H1 body is a parent. So my H1 take how much width? 1333 is nothing but body width. So it is a block level. Div 1333 block level. Span content width inline. H3 block level. H6 block level. I inline. B inline. Para 1333. It is a block level. Yes or no? Got my point? So multiple block levels are there, block level elements are there, inline elements are there. Okay, why my H1 is behaving like a block level? Why not my span? That is also one question. Why my H1 is like by default it's a block level? Why not my span? Why my H1 is like a big font size it is showing? Why not my div? Why? Okay, how the elements are behaving in their own way means very simple. Now in the elements tab, there has two sections are there. Observe, there has two sections. In my left side section, whatever the content rendered inside the browser, that content related code we can see in the left side section or not. Whatever the content rendered inside the browser, that content related code we can see in the left side section or not. Yes or no? Yes or no? Whatever the content rendered inside the browser, that content related code in the left side section. In the right side section, if you observe, there has styles. Observe here, there has a styles section is there, right? Now observe. For my first section, okay, this is the content. This content related code is what? Inspected. H1. For my H1, okay, see, H1 is highlighted. If you come to the right side, for my H1, see this, there has some styles applied or not. Can I spell out? All these styles by default, I didn't apply anything. Can you spell out? The first style, okay, the CSS, it is in the format of, okay, properties. At the time of CSS, we'll discuss. Okay, we are going to apply styles to my element like multiple ways, inline, internal, and external. We'll see, discuss later. Okay, but the style, the CSS properties looks like a key value pair. Observe here. To my H1 element, these many CSS properties, these many key value pairs are applied by default or not. First key value pair is what? To my H1. To my H1, first key value pair is what? Display block. Display block. For my H1, by default, this display block CSS property applied. That the reason only my H1 element behaving like which kind of element? Block level element or not. Got my point? Come on. By default, for my H1, one of the CSS property, which CSS property? Display block is applied. That the reason my H1 is like which kind of element? Inline or block level? Block level element or not. The next one is like font size 2em. 2em is like a units. Okay, em, so okay, I will tell rem, em, pixel, percentage. These all things units in CSS. We'll discuss later. Because of this font size 2em, that the reason only it is looks like big font size or not. Okay. Now there has a margin is there. Because of this margin, if I put my cursor on H1, see there is a red shade is there, top and bottom. That is a margin. What is margin? We'll see in CSS. For now, just remember, it is not a big deal. It is a margin. The next one is like font weight is like a bold. That the reason, see, Sachin text is in the bold letters or not. All are okay. For my H1, by default, these many CSS properties are applied. That the reason only, right? My H1 is behaving like this. Yes or no? Come on. Come on. Now, how the elements are behaving like that? If anybody asks, the elements behavior completely depending upon the styles what applied to that element or not. The styles which are applied to that particular element, okay, based on that only the behavior is depending upon, okay, depends or not. Yes or no? Based on the styles what he applied, the behavior is depending upon that one or not? Yes or no? Why my H1 is behaving like that means my H1 by default having display block, so it's a block level element by default. It is having some font size, so that big font size it looks like. Okay, it is having font weight bold, so that it is a bold letter. It is having margin, so that there has some gap top and bottom. Because of these CSS properties by default applied to my H1, so that my H1 is behaving like this or not. Yes or no? Can I go to the next element div? Can I click on the div now? Come to the right side. See, I'm clicking on the div. Yes. Tell me, to my div, which CSS property by default applied? Which CSS property by default applied to my div? To my div, which CSS property by default applied? Display block. That's the reason only, right? Okay, no effects, nothing. Okay, it is acting like a block level element or not? It is acting like what? Block level element or not? Okay, can I come to the next one? Span. See that? To my span, is there any CSS applied? No. The other reason it is not a block level. There is no font size, nothing. It's a simple normal inline element without any effects or not. Can I go to my H3? See this. For my H3, display block, font size is like not 2 em. H1 2 em. H3 1.7 em. This is also having margin. See, top and bottom red shade is there, right? Right. That is the margin. Font weight is like bold, so that this is in the bold letters or not? Yes or no? Because of these many CSS properties are applied for this particular H3 by default, that's the reason only, right? My H3 is behaving like this. Okay, if I go to my H6, these many CSS properties are applied. My H6 is like a block level element. Why? Why? Because display block is applied by default. If you go to my Sachin, okay, this one, now see this, for this there is no display block. That's the reason it is an inline element, but font style italic applied. That's the reason, right? See this, Sachin is in the italic, so my eye behavior like this or not? Why my eye is behaving like this? Why? Because by default my eye tag having font style italic CSS property or not? The next one is like B Sachin. See this, why this B Sachin? It is not display block property, it is not having, but font weight is bold. That's the reason, right? My B tag, whatever the content is there, it is looks like in the bold letters. The next one is like para. If you see this para, display block is there. That's the reason it is like a block level element. There has a red shade is there, top and bottom. There has some margin is there or not there? Got my point? Each and every element has their own behavior that is depending upon the CSS what is applied to that element or not. Agreed with me? Agreed with my statement? Come on, agreed with my statement. So for my H1, these many CSS properties are there. Okay, for my H1, these many CSS properties are there. For my H1. What about my span? What about my span? To my span, do we have any CSS properties? Do we have any CSS properties to my span? Do we have any CSS properties to my span? Nothing, nothing. Okay, that's the reason my span is like what? Normal, okay, text without any effects or not. Now tell me, if you want to change the behavior of my span like H1, what you want me to add? As I said, my H1 behavior, okay, like this. Why? My H1 behavior is like this. Why? Why? Because these many CSS are applied by default to my H1. If you want to change the behavior of my span now, like a H1, if my span want to behave like a H1, so whatever the CSS properties are there, if I place to my span, now my span is turned to be like what? My span is behaving like what? Now my span is behaving like what? My span is behaving like H1 or not? Yes or no? My span is behaving like H1 or not? Can you check it now? Okay, whatever the CSS properties are there for my H1 copy, can I go to my span? This is my span. See this. Can I go to my span? Okay, put like Kohli. Okay, for now. This is my span. Can I add that copied CSS here? Now see my Kohli, how it is behaving. See my Kohli. Still it is a span only. But how it is behaving? Still it is span only. How it is behaving? It is behaving like H1 or not. That means my elements behavior is completely depending upon the CSS what we applied or not. The elements behavior is completely depending upon what you applied or not. What you applied the CSS or not. Yes or no? Agreed with my statement or not? Come on. Now my span is turned to be like what? My span is turned to be like what? Come on. My span is turned to be like what? H1, right? Yes or no? My span is turned to be like H1 or not? Now tell me, my span is which type of element? By default inline. Now my span is which kind of element? Come on. My span is which kind of element? My span is a block level element or not? Okay, that means one inline element we can make it like block level or not by applying display block. Yes sir? No. Okay, now my question is, okay, yesterday you said ndtv.com if you take, okay, any other website you can take, okay, I'm able to see like 90% tags are like divs only. Yes or no? 90% tags I'm able to see like divs only. Why only div? Why not remaining? Means if you have one element, that element behavior we can change like any other element by applying CSS or not. So one element is enough, right? If you have div, can I make div as a, can I make or can I change the behavior of my div as a H1? Possible or not possible? Possible or not possible? Can I make my div behavior as a span? Possible or not possible? By applying CSS, it's possible or not? Let's go here. So this is my div. If you want to make it like H1, so whatever my H1 properties are there, go to my div, just add it. Just add it. Okay, now these many CSS properties are there. Right? Can I copy this one? Now go here. Can I paste it? Now my div is turned to be like what now? My div is like what now? It is like H1 or not? H1 or not? Okay, if you don't want, I want this div is like a span. That means what? Inline. So display, not block, display inline. Now see my div. My div is turned to be like what? Block level or inline now? Block level or inline? My div is like a inline or not? Okay, now this div, if you want to make it like a B, then that time, so can I put like my font weight is like bold, then that time my div is turned to be like a B tag or not? Okay, if you want to put like font style italic, then that time my div is behaving like italic or not? If you put like H6 styles to my div, now my div is turned to be like what? H6 or not? Yes or no? Come on. Yes or no? So one element is enough, right? That element I can make it like any other element or not by applying CSS. Yes or no? By applying CSS, I can make that element okay behaving like any other element or not. Okay, that's the reason. Okay, most of the times you can see divs only. Based on this particular styles, what we applied for the div, the behavior gets changed or not. Yes or no? Come on. All agreed. Okay, now you can learn HTML. Okay, go to any your favorite website, whatever it is. Let's go with the Google only. Okay, now I want to see what kind of code they written for this Gmail. Right click on that one, inspect it. So for yesterday, till yesterday, how to see the code. Just now onwards, see that particular content related code. For that content related code, what kind of CSS applied you can see in the right side now onwards. Come on. What kind of CSS applied? In the right side, you can check it now. Based on this particular CSS only, the behavior is going to change or not, the element behavior and everything. Yes or no? You can check like this, check uncheck, it is affected or not affected, like that you can check. This is only the way of learning. Got my point? Simply what code they written for that particular code, for that particular element, what kind of CSS they apply. Now if you come here, in CSS, see this, you have to learn CSS, but see how many properties are there in CSS. These many thousands of properties, multiple properties are there. Each and every property, how we can remember. No need to remember each and every property. Based on your requirement, you can go to the Google and get it and apply. How to apply the CSS, I will tell. But each and every property, we are not discuss here. You are the person has to take care. No one remember each and every property. These many properties, why I need, how I can remember. Frequently used some properties are there, you can remember it. You can simply go to the Google and search it. All are agreed with me? Come on. Okay then. The next one, I want to create one simple login page. Now you know, right, why the elements are behaving like that. What is the difference between div and para? If anybody asks, what is the answer? Div and para. Simple. Where is my div? This is my div. For my div, display block property is there. Go to para. For my para, display block and extra margin also there. So what is the difference between div and para? Both are like block level elements only. My div is not having the margin, but my para has the margin or not. Simply you can say. Yes or no? Then. I want to create one simple login form now. Let's create login.html. Let's start. But now just you can take like a h1 login. Now I need Sachin and Dhoni line by line. Sachin, Dhoni line by line. Which element is the suitable one? In which element you want me to place the content? Sachin, Dhoni line by line I want. If I place inside the span, inside the span Sachin and Dhoni, these are displayed line by line or side by side? Line by line or side by side? Side by side. Why? Because very simple, right? See, this is my body. The body whole width is how much? 1350. The body whole width is how much? 1350. That means here the one line is like 1350 pixel width. Now h1 take how much? 1350. So that the total line occupied by h1. So here nothing, there is no space to keep another element. That's the reason. H1 is a block level by default. It's fine. Now it is going to take the full width of my body. Now come to my span. See how much width it's taken? 43 pixel. So total width is like 1350. In the 1350, my Sachin used only 50 pixel width, but that means remaining 1300 pixel width space is empty or not. So in that space, Dhoni is there. Dhoni only 40 pixel width it's taken. That means Sachin and Dhoni total 100 pixel width is enough. How much width we have? actual width is like 1350. So that inside the 1350 pixel width, I can place like 100 pixel content or not. That's the reason we have enough space is there to keep your Sachin and Dhoni in that line or not. Yes or no? Come on. All are agreed? Okay, this is my body. Okay, how much width? How much width? 1350. 1350. Okay, first element is what? H1. First element is what? H1. H1 by default block level. That's the reason it's take like how much width? 1350 pixel width. So my H1 takes the full width or not? Here to here 1350 pixel. That is occupied by whom? H1. That is occupied by H1. The next one is what? Span. My span first width is how much? 50 pixel. So here no space is there. 1350 having 1350 occupied. So it comes to the next line, my span. So the overall width is how much? 1350 total. In the 1350 pixel width, 50 pixel occupied who? Sachin. Sachin. So that this much space is like what? Okay, still is like empty space only or not. The next one is what? Dhoni. The next one is like one more span is that Dhoni. So Dhoni is like 40 pixels. So my Dhoni 40 pixel, how much pixel space is empty? 1300 pixel is there, empty space. So here to here my Dhoni occupied. Dhoni occupied. So 50 pixel is like Sachin, 40 pixel Dhoni. So remaining is what? 1210 pixel space is empty or not? Yes or no? That's the reason my span and my Dhoni is like side by side. It's like inline elements. Then the time it's like side by side only. Now come here. Instead of this one, if I put like div, then the time my Dhoni comes to the next line. Why? Why means very simple. My div is like what? Okay, here. Come here. Now 50 pixel occupied by span. How much space is empty? Total 1350. 1350 minus 50. So 1300 space is empty. Now my div is there. Div is which type of element? Block level. Block level means it takes the parent width, means body width, means 1350. So my div requires 1350. But empty space is how much is there? 1300. So how we can keep 1350 pixel content in the 1300 pixel empty space? Not possible. That's the reason. Okay, it comes to the next line. It is occupies the full width or not to my div. Yes or no? Agreed with me? Okay, this space is like empty only. Why? Because okay, div requires 1350, but I have only 1300. Agreed? So if you want side by side, then the time you can go with span or inline elements. If you want line by line, then the time you can go with what? Can I go with div? Yes or no? Can I go with div? Yes. Okay, I need some gap. One element to another element, one line to another another line. I need some gap. One line to another line, I need some gap. Then you can go with what? Then you can go with what? Come on, div to para difference is what? To my div, there is no margin. For my para, there has a margin is there. Both are like block levels only. For my div, no margin. For my para, there has a margin. See this? There has a gap, you can see. Yes or no? In my first line, Sachin I don't want. I want, okay, username and text box. So that can I keep here in the para? Okay, user name. Okay, here in my second para, okay, with bold letters, I want password. Done. Yes. Okay, I need one more line for login button. So one more line I want. Can I take one more para? Yes. Okay, now here I need a text box. If you want a text box, we have one element given by HTML people. That element is like input. See the tag. open tag, closing tag, in between some content. So open tag, closing tag, content. If any tag is not having the content, you can close here itself. That is called as a self-closing tags. Okay, so input is an element. So come on here. See, one input tag, it is looks like this or not. It looks like this or not. Yes or no? So my question is very simple. Why the username is looks like this? Why? Because my B has some font weight bold. Why my input is behaving like this means, why? Because my input has these many CSS properties by default or not. These many CSS properties by default applied. That the reason my input is behaving like this, and it is allow you to write mode. You can write something or not. Yes or no? Why my input is behaving like this means, to my input these many CSS properties are applied. These many CSS properties are applied by default. That's the reason only, right? My input is behaving like this. Yes or no? Okay, now the password I want. So input, okay, it is not self-closing by default. Just remove it. If the content is not there, you can put like self-closing tags. Input. Now come here. Now one more input. This is one more input. This is one more input. So this input allow you some data. This input allow you some data. But the difference, what? If it is like a password field, whatever the content you place, that should be with mask or not. The content with some mask or not. That should not be visible, right? Yes or no? Come on. That is the default behavior, right? The password. Then how we can just here you can put like one attribute. What is an attribute? I will tell. Okay, just put like password. One attribute you can put it. Now come here. Can I refresh? Now see this. Now this element is like this behavior. This element behavior is like this. Now why this is behaving like this? Why this is behaving like this? Can you see the code? Can you see the CSS? Now open the first one. Input. Okay, this is also input. In the input, see this, write mode, box size, something like that. In this input also write mode, box size, okay, something like this. But one thing is extra. What is that extra thing? See the difference. This one, one thing is extra. One CSS property. Write mode, box size, checkbox, and then input. Write mode, okay, box size, checkbox, input. In between, this is an extra thing or not? Because of this CSS property applied to this particular element, okay, so that my content is visible to the end user with some mask or not. What is that CSS property? What is that CSS property? To make it visible the content with some mask, the TSS property is like text security is the CSS property. So this WebKit text security CSS property, if you apply for any element, see to my H1, if I apply, okay, now see that it is visible with some mask or not? Yes or no? Come on. The WebKit text security, okay, because of this CSS property by default applied with what? Disk value, so that whatever the content is there, that content is visible with some disk or not. That WebKit text security CSS property, if I apply to my H1, see my H1 also like what? With some disk, right? That CSS property I want to apply for username. If I apply for the username, now see this, which one you want? Circular, circles. Disk, disk. Okay, the next one is like square, square. Now see that? Because of that CSS property only, right? The element is behaving like this. Yes or no? If anybody asks why that CS, why that input, okay, the text is like looking with some mask, okay, visible with some mask. Why means why? Because that particular element having one CSS property by default. What is that CSS property? WebKit text security CSS property or not? Because of that particular CSS property by default for this element, that's the reason it is visible like this or not. To this element, if you want, So go to text box. What is that? WebKit text security. Okay, I want to show with some circles. Okay, I want to show with some squares. Okay, now whatever the applied, now it is like it's square or not. Got the point? If you want to hide actual content with some mask, then the time which CSS property you want me to apply? WebKit to text security CSS property or not? To my input type equals to password text box, the WebKit to text security CSS property disk by default applied. That the reason only that is visible like this or not. Agreed with me? Come on. Yes or no? Okay, this is only the way of learning. No need to remember each and everything. Check what they written. If it is required for you, copy paste it. HTML and CSS is like open. It's a public. Any website, whatever the HTML content loaded, whatever the CSS applied for that particular HTML content, everything is visible to you. This is a open one. Okay, your JavaScript content, okay, it's a logic and everything they are minified, but HTML and CSS no one can minify. Okay, HTML and CSS directly it is going to be visible, rendered inside the browser. Then only, okay, whatever the format you are expecting, that format you can see. Got my point? That the reason, go to any website, check what they written. That is only the way of learning. HTML and CSS. Got my point? Okay, by default input type equals to password, having one extra CSS property called as a WebKit text security disk. That the reason only whatever the content you place, that is visible with what? Some mask or not. If you want to customize that one, yes, you can go ahead. Okay, with the square you can customize, with the circles you can customize, whatever you want you can customize it. But by default it's like a disk. Okay, got my point? The next one, I need a button. Okay, button login. Button login. How can I refresh? Why again it is behaving like this? Go there and check. These many CSS properties are applied. That's the reason only, right? These many CSS properties are applied for this particular element. Okay, that's the reason only, right? It is behaving like what? One button or not. Now see, my password also turned to be like what? Button only. Yes or no? Whatever the CSS properties by default is there for my button, just I copy paste to my B tag. Now my B tag is turned to be like button or not? Yes or no? Come on. Okay. Okay then. Oh then, thank you guys. Okay, you can drop remaining people. Okay, who has questions, just stay back. So newcomers. Okay, you can unmute and you can talk. Do you have any questions? Okay, remaining people can drop. Who has, okay, you don't have any questions, just you can drop. Who has questions, just stay back. The actual session ended, you can drop. So newcomers, let me show you the content, what we are going to deliver as part of our course. Yeah, the course duration, it's like 60 hours. Okay, so first 10 days we are going to cover like HTML and CSS. First 10 days. Okay, HTML basics and CSS basics. Okay, these many things we are going to cover first 10 days. After that, see, as part of our course, we are going to deliver these many JavaScript topics. Okay, don't think like it's like a JavaScript course, but any UI related framework or library, if you want to learn JavaScript, is like very, very important. If you know JavaScript concepts very well, okay, that is like easy for me to, okay, convince, okay, whatever the concept is there, whatever the logic is there. That's the reason, okay, I want to main focus on JavaScript. Okay, so my JavaScript and React, okay, don't think like first we are going to cover JavaScript, don't think like that. Okay, JavaScript and React is like go parallel. whenever the React topic is required some JavaScript knowledge, okay, then the time first we are going to cover the JavaScript topic and then go to the React topic. Like that, JavaScript and React go parallel. So as part of JavaScript, these many topics we are going to cover. I will share you this content. As part of React, these many topics we are going to cover. The next one is like line number 114. Once your application development is completed, I want to build, I want to deploy that application. It's a kind of DevOps team work. So how to build and deploy the code in GoDaddy, AWS Vercel, and how to manage the code in the Git. Okay, these two I'm going to cover. The next one is like, it is not only the React, okay, not only the front end, okay, we are going to discuss like, okay, some part of back end also. Okay, the back end is like Node.js we are going to use. Why? Because I want to cover on end-to-end flow. Okay, means client and server application, and MongoDB is my database to store some data. For that, some backend knowledge is required. So Node.js I'm going to use to create the REST API calls and GraphQL queries. So Node.js I want to use, and my database is like a MongoDB as part of our course. State management at application level, Redux library we are going to use, as well as JuiceStand library we are going to use. The next one is like React hooks to work with functional components. Nowadays, people are completely shifting to functional components. So hooks are very, very important. And then one end-to-end application. Okay, not only one, total 4 end-to-end applications we are going to discuss. 2 with REST, 2 with GraphQL. So client is React Redux, server is like Node, and database is MongoDB. Okay, and the next one is like how to manage the JSON web tokens. Okay, we are going to cover some extra stuff is like Next.js. We are going to cover React Native for mobile application development, React with TypeScript. Okay, not instead of JS, I want to go with the TypeScript also. Okay, how to customize your application structure by using Webpack. That one we'll discuss. As part of our course, these many softwares are required. Okay, you can install it. For now, the first software is enough for me. Just you can install it. You need to create these accounts, okay, in these websites. Okay, GitHub account, Vercel account, MongoDB, AWS, and npm.js. Okay, this is our learning website. It is always up and run. Okay, uijavakit.com 24/7, 365 days. Okay, we are going to share our content, daily programs and everything through this website only. So far, we completed like 4 sessions. 4 session videos are here. You can go through that. So the course fee is like 5,000 without videos. Okay, 8,000 with videos. Okay, if you are working guy, no videos, nothing is required. But who want to put some experience? Okay, please take the videos. Okay, it is helpful to you. It is helpful to you. Because if you want to put like 2 to 3 years of experience, then the time you have to resign. Okay, revise the sessions multiple times. Okay, better to take the videos. Okay, now this is the payment details. This is the account. Okay, if you are satisfied, okay, if you're okay to join, then the time you can join here. Okay, this is the admin number. Just you can contact with the admin guy. Okay, if you have any questions, okay, if they not respond, they are busy with some other things. This is my email ID. You can drop a mail. Okay, so that let me share this content with you, newcomers. Already existing guys, you know how to download it. Newcomers, I'm telling.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, which is the last date of our payment, sir?
It may take like they will give like 3 to 4 days. Okay, this weekend, I guess.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Newcomers, can you go to this website first? Newcomers, can you go to this website? Okay, just confirm. Once you are able to open that website, just confirm to me. Are you able to open the website? Just I shared one link, right? Just to open that one. Now what I'm doing, okay, just don't think more about that one. This is my job to upload the content. Are you able to open that one website? Now, once you open that website, yeah, come down. There is a React.js tab is there, right? Click on the React.js tab. In the React.js tab, just come down. Okay, at last you can see today class. Just click on the today class link. Just click on the today class link. Now, once you click on this one, you can see one zip file downloaded. You can extract this zip file. Once you extract it, you can see our content. Okay, so far, okay, these three HTML files we discussed. Content is this one. You can see the content. Okay, all the details you can find here. All the details. Okay, admin details you can find. Okay, the next one is like 4 demo sessions videos you can find here. Okay, are you able to open that, newcomers? Are you able to download or not? Yes, you can go through that content. If you have any questions, let me know. Okay, remaining people, anyone have any questions? Anyone have any questions?
No, sir.
Yeah, if you don't have any questions, just you can drop. Who has the questions? Or just go through that content. I will be there for next 10 minutes. Just let me know if you have any questions. Go through that content. If you don't have any questions, just you can drop. Remaining people. So, any questions, anyone? Newcomers? No? Okay, then we'll continue the main things in tomorrow's class. This course is good for men's tech, yes. Okay, but you have to focus more on the Node.js. I'll cover everything from the React. Okay, you have to, okay, Node.js 30% we are going to cover for GraphQL, how to handle, REST API calls, how to handle, perform some operations on the database, how we can do it, all these things. But some extra topics you need to learn, okay, for men's tech. Okay. Okay then, thank you guys, bye.